Hello, 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 and welcome everyone to day 5 of the Breathe Virtual Telesummit. I don't know, is it a telesummit? I don't know. The Breathe Virtual Summit. I want to call it a telesummit because we're not on the telephone. So welcome, and I am your host, Dorothy-Inez, confidence and mindset mentor for those of you who may just be tuning in for the first time this week. Every day this week, I have had the honor and privilege of bringing on many self-love experts this week to help you, just breathe through this, this time that's, as they say, unprecedented. Like, we've never experienced anything like this in our generation. And so I just really felt led to bring you some experts that would help you learn how to have some peace, help you grow your business and be inspired this week during this time. And so today I am super excited to bring on one of my I'd say she's probably my best girlfriend right now. Me and her, we talk, I always say she and I talk 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day, and I just love her. And that is Miss Natasha Lee. Natasha Lee, let me read you a little bit about Natasha before we bring her on live today. Natasha is the founder of the Chakra Bliss Tea Company and the Chakra Bliss Center for Healing, a transformational spiritual self-care and wellness company. Natasha is an ordained minister, intuitive healer, massage therapist, Reiki master, and I can't say this one, is it Merrill Reiki practitioner, crystal therapist, herbalist, and spiritual midwife, helping women from all walks of life give birth to their true and authentic selves through the art and practice of sacred self-care. Sacred self-care is the topic today that Natasha and I are going to have a conversation about. And hopefully you all will walk away with some practices that you'll be able to use as you navigate through these difficult times. So let's bring on Miss Natasha. Welcome, Natasha. I'm
How
so
are
glad
you?
you're here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm looking at our glasses. I'm like, we kind of twinning it up today with our glasses. Looking cute.
Yes.
So, Natasha, let me just make sure that this is broadcasting well on my page before we get caught up. Make sure we're broadcasting on both of the pages. Okay, we're looking good. I see Nikki Rich is here tuning in from California. So, Natasha, let's go ahead and just dive in, because I want these people to understand why I talk to you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day, because you are just so fabulous. So tell us what led to this work. This work, you have a lot of credentials behind your name. If somebody thinks I have a lot, my girl has a lot. So tell them, how did you get drawn to all this, healing arts type work?
Right. Well, I say all the time that I believe most people, their gifts are birthed out of pain, and that was true for me. So I'm the mother of 4 boys. When my boys were small, one of my sons was diagnosed with a brain tumor and spinal cancer, and he's 23 and well now, I'll say that first. But during the regular chemo and radiation visit, during 1 month, he had to go for a year for regular chemo visits. I just had passed out, and when I woke up, I was in a hospital bed next to him. And it wasn't that one event that led to this fallout, if you will. It was an accumulation of all the things that go undone, all the things that we as women usually sweep under the rug. Oh, I'll start the diet next month, or I'll walk tomorrow. I will eat better. I will take time for myself. We do all of these things because we're busy, right? So we're taking
Mhm.
care of our families, our children, our aging parents and sister friends. So we are always often the last person on our list. So it was all just an accumulation of things that had gone undone that led to this fallout. And so from that moment to this one, I've been on a mission to like spread the word about self-care and teach self-care.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, Natasha, one of the things you and I, we talk about, and we've talked about, and you hear these terms, self-love, and then you hear the term self-care.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, let's just kind of talk about let's look at what is self-love, first of all. How do you define self-love?
So self-love to me is just knowing who you are at a core level and just recognizing your worth. And I will say that you cannot practice self-care without self-love. So
Mm.
if the self-love is void, then there's the self-care piece just doesn't come together.
And I would say for me, self-love is close to what you're saying as well. I feel like self-love for me is when I love myself. I love the one who lives in me, the one who created me. Self-love is, like you said, valuing who you are and honoring who you are. Because so often as women, we have that voice, that inner critic that's always talking to us and putting us down. And I always think about, well, if I loved, my friend, would I talk to my friend the way I'm talking to myself? And so I would say more loving things. And so self-love, a part of that is saying loving things and affirming who God has called me to be, and also affirming the God within me is self-love. Because I've made this statement. It's like, to love myself is to love God. And a lot of times we're made to feel guilty for loving ourselves. I mean, how have you experienced that? Were you taught to love who you are, Natasha, when you were growing up?
Absolutely not. Well, I had strong women in my life that would say, you could be anything and do anything, but just society will have you think that, to be a good mother or to be a good wife or a friend, you have to put them first. And
Mhm.
really, it's just the opposite. If you don't put yourself first, you cannot be any good to others. You can't be in service to others. And learning to love yourself, you have to learn how to extend grace to yourself first.
Mhm. Mhm. So let's talk about this thing called self-care.
Mm-hmm.
So what is self-care in your opinion?
So self-care is taking care of your needs.
Mhm.
Self-care, I will tell people that it is not pampering. It can include the aspect of pampering, but it is not pampering. Self-care is taking care of your needs. What is it that you really need at a core level? You need to be um, easy with yourself, graceful with yourself. You need to take care of your body. You need to take care of every aspect of your beings, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. You just have to take care of yourself and look at yourself as taking care of yourself as a whole. So
So,
every aspect, if one area is out of balance, then pretty much everything else starts to fall apart. So that's where balance comes into play. You have to take care of all of those areas in sync together and be in balance.
so we hear, be in balance. We hear, all these things that, because that was an extensive list. How a woman who's not used, Natasha, to caring for herself, putting herself first, and especially in like you, she might be a mom like you listening in.
Mhm.
How does she do that? How does she make this a reality in her life when she's saying, whether she's a mom, I have all these kids to take care of, I have a husband to take care of, and I have to work. How do I balance this, in my life? How does she do this? How does she get started? Because it just seems like like something that she just can't do. How does she do that?
Right. Well, instead of filling your plate up with self-care to-do items, just start with small digestible chunks. What can you do in small increments that can lead to a lifestyle? So maybe it's just taking 5 minutes in the morning to center yourself, pray, meditate, and set the tone for your day in the morning, and then another 5 minutes in the evening to close out your day. So maybe you start there with just 10 minutes and then you add things as you go along.
So you're saying prayer, meditation are places you think are good starting points for someone. So when you're saying, you know, we have this word that we're using, sacred.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what does sacred mean? And how does sacred self-care happen versus just self-care?
So sacred self-care to me is self-care amplified, self-care honored, and self-care uncompromised. So it has to be a main thing in your life. So yeah, my self-care time is non-negotiable. It's sacred to me. I honor my self-care time. So I put it first and it is a priority to me.
But how does a woman make that a priority? What are some tips you can give her? How can she, because she can hear you have to make it, but how do you help a woman? What has to shift so that she can, you know, make it a priority? Because right now she's not seeing a way. Like, she hears you, she hears me. How do we help that woman listening make it a priority? What needs to happen? What can she do?
So with speaking to that woman, where is she? More than likely she's tapped out energetically, like she's been running around taking care of others, so her energy is low. And so meet her where she is. That's what I'd say. If you don't have time to practice self-care, or you think you don't have time, it's really about managing your energy. And so when you can learn to do that by just slowing down just a little bit, you can see where more self-care needs to be added in. And it's a commitment just like anything else. When you start doing anything else, you have to just decide that you're going to do it. And so most women know that they need self-care. They don't practice because of, oh, I'm too busy. But really, you can't afford not to practice self-care, because soon what will happen is you'll just get burnt out and you'll have a crash and burn type situation. So you have to learn to manage yourself just like you manage your time or your budget or anything else. You have to learn to manage it. And I say that, you know, people always talk about time management, time management. No, I think the most important thing is energy management. And so if you can get that piece down, you can find more time to nurture yourself. You'll see the importance of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, start with small digestible chunks. Start with something small, 5 minutes here and there, and then build into your self-care time. And really, self-care should not be, it's not a one-time event. It's really a lifestyle. It is soul deep and spirit led, as I say. And so I think slowing down enough to listen to spirit, to see where you should be. Because spirit will leave you clues. You'll if you slow down long enough, you'll hear, you know, that you need rest or instruction, you know.
I like what you said, you know, put it into small digestible chunks. And it's not a one-time event, it's a lifestyle. And this is so true. And this is why what I found, if you're feeling like you're busy and you don't have a lot of time, that used to be my story when it came to self-love, self-care practices. It would be, I don't have time. And so what I've learned to do, for those of you listening, is get out your calendar. And I actually have right here my own calendar where I actually created a grid of where, where is my self-love time? I have up here, time that I'm going to be coaching, time I'm going to be working my Mary Kay business, time I'm going to exercise, my mindset work, my me time, and then my time where I work, now it's past tense, worked outside of the home. But I created this grid so I know whenever this is when things are going to take place in my life. So those of you that think you're busy or feel like you're too busy, figure out where you can create sacred time to do some of the practices that we're going to start. How can you, Natasha, in their home, because a lot of these women now are at home, how can they create sacred space in their home when they've got the kids, the kids running around, the husband is now at home? How can they create space during this time to have self-love and self-care practices?
So there's always a way. We're stuck in the house now with, if you don't live alone and you have a spouse or a partner or children, you have to be a little bit more diligent about creating that time. And so just figure out what's going to work with you. If you're engaged with the children all day, maybe your self-care time is when they go down at night to sleep. And for me, what I do is I create a sacred space wherever I go. I have a basket. And in that basket, I can carry from room to room. It has my journal, my pen. It has my favorite teacup in the basket. It has some assorted teas. And it has my crystals. It has my incense and my sage. Everything that I love, my book, whatever I'm reading, is in that basket. I can take it from room to room. And sometimes where you need to create space may end up being the bathroom, right? That can be the only place that you can get a quiet 10 minutes. And so work that 10 minutes. If it's just running a bubble bath and soaking for 10 minutes, praying and meditating, journaling, singing, whatever is going to speak to your spirit at that time, where you can just take a few minutes for yourself to decompress. 5 minutes works wonders when that's all you have. And you grow into 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. You just grow into that time. And if you have to steal away in the bathroom for 5-10 minutes, even throughout the day, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, that's what you have to do. Remember, I said sacred self-care is uncompromised. It's non-negotiable. So if you were going to work and your boss gave you a task to do, you would complete that task. And so it has to be non-negotiable.
So I really like I use the shower often for my my meditation time, and even the questions that I came up with, I'm just standing in the shower, and that's where I get a lot of my downloads. That is my sacred, my prayer closet is getting in there, and I just stand and let that heat. Because sometimes when I look, especially right now where I got so much stuff in my home, it's like that seems like to be the only place that doesn't have something in the corner. So I really like the idea of the bathroom. And one of the things, Natasha, you like to do is baths. Can you share with the women listening, what are some of the sacred baths, give us your best bath that would be most appropriate for this time, like a detox bath, a cleansing bath.
Yes. I love soaking in sacred waters. I love water, and I love just soaking in water. So oftentimes I will take a bath. You know that about me. But my favorite bath is an oxygen bath or an oxygen detox bath. And what that is a combination of some Himalayan pink salt, Epsom salt, baking soda, and hydrogen peroxide. And I'll add other things to that. If I want to add my essential oils or some herbs, some rose petals, some lavender, I will drop my crystals in the tub. So whatever it is that you think you need, add that, like a big pot of soup. Okay, what's going to be good, right? You drop, during these times, people are looking for something different, so they are grabbing anything to make a meal, right? So think of it as your bathtub, whatever you need at the time. But the combination of the salts and the baking soda and the peroxide is really going to the salts are going to draw out the toxins, and the baking soda and the peroxide are really going to relax your muscles.
So how much pink salt? Like, do you have like a cup of salt, a half a cup? How much should they put in their bath?
Yeah, so I do a cup of pink salt, or half a cup to a cup of pink salt, a cup to 2 cups of Epsom salt, and I will put a whole box of baking soda, like the Arm & Hammer, a whole box, and a half a bottle of peroxide.
That's good. And why is it called an oxygen bath? Is it putting oxygen in my body?
That's the peroxide and the baking soda, but it is called an oxygen
when
bath.
we were younger, is that what was going on, like the volcano explosion?
It oxygenates your cells, and yes, those toxins, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because that sounds, you've always, like, the whole time we've known each other, you've told me about these oxygen baths, and I have never taken, I told you I have trouble with them baths. So can you come up with an oxygen shower?
Well, listen, for some ladies who can't take baths, you can do a foot soak. So start there. That is so relaxing. You can just do a foot soak while you're reading or listening to a meditation on YouTube or some piece of motivation that you have. Do a foot soak. It's just as effective.
That's good. You didn't tell me that, Natasha.
Well, yes, you can do a foot soak.
Okay. And
start adding.
Huh?
I was going to say, once you start adding these little things to your lifestyle, you will see that you want more and more.
Yeah.
And so then the 5-minute grows into a half an hour and then an hour. But let me tell you, I have always known the importance of self-care, whether I started or not. And it wasn't until I had the fallout that I said, okay, this is really important. But I craved self-care, and I wasn't really fully tuning in. Funny but true story really quick. I had 4 young boys, 2 years apart. So I was pulling my hair out at one point, and I would, don't laugh, don't judge.
I won't.
I would go to the ER sometimes when it got bad and say, oh, I'm having chest pains, because I knew it was mandatory that they could keep me for 3 days. And I would go to the hospital with my bag ready. I would have a candle and my journal. And the nurse one time, she said, what's going on? I said, I'm resting. My mother-in-law was a respiratory therapist. She said, girl, don't do that too often. They're going to call somebody to pick you up and declare you 5150.
You thought you were going to the spa.
In my mind, it was, but you do what you have to do when self-care is really needed. And so that's really what I want to say is do what you have to do right now. You know what your body and what your spirit is calling for. You know that you need to add some self-care to your life. Why do I know that? Because everybody does. And you need to be more diligent and more committed to your self-care practice. I think, especially in times like this when we're just like cooped up and stressed out and going through and anxious, lean into your self-care.
Girl, I have to laugh because my grandma used to use the word cooped up. And I found myself earlier, I said, yeah, we're all cooped up in this house. I said, I feel like I'm like my grandma. And then now you said cooped up. So it's 2 times I've heard cooped up.
I was raised by my granny, so that's where it came from.
Yeah, I know, right? It's an old school word. So Clement says, water is such a powerful earth element energy. She says, how do you feel about the severe over mining the salts? I don't know what she means by it, but maybe how do you feel about, I guess the question of mining the salt? She says, I've been trying to switch to sea salt, but the pink is yummy. And then she says, I hide away in my car in the garage. It's peaceful if there's no chaos and if it's clean. So car is another. I've known a lot of moms that go to their cars to, you know, be in peace. So what do you think? She's asking, what do you think about the Himalayan salts over the mining? You know, there's
Right.
controversy about the way the Himalayan salts are mined.
Right. Well, I have to use Himalayan salt because my doctor recommended it because of my high blood pressure. So that is the salt that I use because it's recommended to me. But I definitely get what she's saying. Instead of using, you can use whatever salt that you find necessary. But here's what you do. Everything that you use, you need to thank it. You need to bless it. So if you're bringing in Himalayan salt, sea salt, whatever kind of salt, thank it for offering to you what you need. Thank the salt, bless the salt, and just say a prayer over it. We could look, everything is becoming, we are using all of our resources right now, all of Mother Earth, and some are being tapped out. Like sage is, you have to, when you buy sage, you have to see where it's sourced from and what type of sage it is, because we're overusing it, right? So it's becoming less and less available to us. So just whatever resources you're using that Mother Earth has provided for us or that God has blessed us with, bless it back to whatever source that we're using it in, our bath, our recipes, whatever. Thank it and bless it.
And even thank the people, you know, that, you know, are in those mines, you know, doing that so that you have that available. I'm not familiar with what Clem is talking about, so I can't speak to it. But I agree with you, Natasha. Good feedback. And Clem, thank you for the good idea on going to your car. And so you might want to, I always make sure my car smells good. I have these rose, what do you call it, like air fresheners in there. So when I get in there, it smells like a bed of roses. I'd be getting aromatherapy when I'm in the car. And I have a little aromatherapy like that goes in your cigarette. Have you seen those?
Yes. Yeah.
So I have those. So Natasha, what are some rituals that, you know, do you have any type of guide or anything that, or a resource that women can download that would help them discover some self-care rituals?
So I do. I provided the Detox in a Box program that you can forward to the listeners today. And that's full of yummy information. And if you need a direct download link, I can give that to you to put in.
Yeah, just go and comment at the end and put that in the comments for them so they can download that. Because let me tell you, Natasha creates these beautiful, beautiful resources. So if she's offering this up today for free, I would recommend that you get it. I've seen the Detox in a Box, and it's amazing. And Natasha, one thing we mentioned in here in your bio is about your new tea line. Can you tell our viewers about your tea ritual? Because that's something every day you do a tea ritual, and that inspired you as an herbalist. You created your own line of tea. So tell them about a tea ritual, because I think it's important now more than ever to take in those warm fluids.
Right. And actually, I will offer the listeners a tea meditation as well that I can put that direct link download in as well. But it's just making your tea time. I started the Chakra Bliss Tea Company because I just love herbs. I love teas. And I have tea all day, you know, hot, cold. I use it for cooking. I will make drunken chicken. I will make tea and soak my chicken in it before I cook it. So I use tea in many different ways. But yes, I love teas. And what was the question? I'm sorry. How did I start, or what was the question?
Tell them about your tea ritual, because you do
my tea ritual. So what I do is with my tea ritual or my tea meditation is it starts when you're preparing the water. You choose your water, you boil your water, you infuse your tea, and you start the process there. So while you are infusing your tea, you take in the aromas and you just start to meditate on that. You use your tea time while your tea is brewing, to maybe journal while your tea is brewing. And then you can take in your tea and let the warm elixir just warm your spirit, and just journal while you're drinking your tea. So I do that all the time.
Yeah, and that was one thing when I was practicing in LA. I was practicing what was called Dawn Yoga at the time, and now it's called Body and Brain. And after every session, we did a tea meditation, and I love, feeling first, having the awareness of the warm tea cup in my hand. That's what I love about the Asian cups, because they don't have the handle.
Yes.
You can just like hold the cup in your hand, and then we would just, have the awareness of the warmth of the cup. And then we would do, like Natasha said, is to breathe in the fragrance of the tea, and to really be present to the fragrance of the tea. And then we would send healing energy. We would take our hand and go around the top of it and just kind of put intention and healing energy into the tea. Mm-hmm. And then we would take that first sip, and it would just be so warm, and every sip was just an intention and like a gift of love to our body, to just feel the warmth of that tea and just be in gratitude, and each time just smelling the fragrance. And so just drinking tea alone can be a meditation. And with each and every sip, just saying in the morning, I'm grateful for whatever it is. It can be like a part of your gratitude practice.
Yes.
And each sip is just something I'm grateful for. Because right now, so many of us, every time we pick up the phone with our friends, we might want to start talking about Corona. And, and we forget in the conversation of Corona what we're actually grateful for. You're grateful that you woke up today, because some people today did not wake up. And so the more we can start to be in gratitude, to me, that is another self-care practice, to be in gratitude each and every day. Gratitude, I talked about this earlier in the week, that your eyes are working, that you can get up and walk outside and smell the air and feel the sunshine, even if you're sitting, in the rain. I don't know, Clem, is it raining in Seattle? I don't know. But you can be grateful for the rain. Because some places like California, they don't get rain, Sometimes it does rain in Southern California.
Yes.
So
it's raining today a little bit. Now the sun is out. So.
Right. So I really love the tea practice. Natasha, what is your tea website that they can reach out and check out Chakra Bliss Teas?
ChakraBlissTea.com. And we all want to say that we don't just have tea there. It's Chakra Bliss Tea and Healing. So there are services there. And there's also Chakra Bliss University. Right now, we're home in the house. Tap into Chakra Bliss University. It's a membership program. And then there's a free plan as well. And there's tons of resources for self-care, meditation, spirituality, sacred movement, lifestyle, and beauty. And right now, take this time that we have, that God has given us, to slow down. This is a blessing. We get to slow down now. We get to tap into and use our gifts, skills, and talents to share with the world, something you are always on me about. So now we have time to put it out there in a big way. We have time to nurture our businesses, our bodies, and our spirits. So now just tap into all of those things you've been wanting time for, including sacred self-care. Let's just get into all of that right now.
Yeah, because I keep saying this. We keep talking about this. It's like right now it feels like cocooning. It's like we're in this cocoon called our home.
Right.
And who will you choose to emerge as when we get to break out of the cocoon? We get to reconnect with people. Who will you be? Will you use this time to sit and veg out in front of the TV and come out the exact same way you came in? Or will you choose to do self-care and do it radically, like Natasha is saying, where it is a must? It is something that it's a non-negotiable in your life. And through that self-care, you've done some personal growth work. You've reconnected to your spirit, to your own spirituality. Maybe a creative idea has come forth, something you've been saying, well, I'll do that when I have time. Well, girl, you have nothing but time as you sit in your home right now. So take advantage of it and come out that beautiful butterfly that we all have inside that's wanting to come forth, that's just been kind of pushed down. Now is the time. There is no better time than the present to care for who you are, to learn to love yourself. And so part of that, I invite you this weekend to think about all that I've shared, all that my guests have shared this week. In this this Breathe virtual summit. How can you take this information this weekend and create a Sabbath, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's Sunday? Create a day that is sacred for you. No social media, no getting on the phone with people, just being with you. How can you do that? And get to know who you are, and just breathe. There's so much power in breathing. So I had said next week I'm going to do part 2 of this it's going to be a focus on beauty. But I realized that I need to shut it down. I need to go within. So instead of doing the beauty part 2, starting Monday, I am moving that to the following week so that this week I can recalibrate. We have to recognize, you know what? I'm doing too much. I don't know about you, Natasha, but it seems like my phone is constantly pinging because everybody's going live all of a sudden.
Yes.
And it's just like overwhelming. So I need to step back and do my own self-care. I might still show up a little bit, but come Sunday and tomorrow, I'm chilling out and woo-sawing, as I hear the new word is, woo-saw. That's what I'm going to do. So Natasha, thank you so much, sis, for coming on today and sharing the goodness that I get to experience every day, several times a day. I'm on a prescription dose.
Yes. Forget my name. It's okay.
See, Natasha, yesterday she was really hurt because I was like, my bestie is coming on, and what's her name? And I knew right when I said, oh Lord, she gonna be on me. Because I had a senior moment, sis. I told you that I hadn't taken in my fish oils yet, okay? And so she was on me. She ain't gonna let me live it down. Why do you keep forgetting my name? I haven't forgotten your name, sis. I call you, shut up. Anyways, thank you so much for being here this week. And I hope that, you guys will tune in next week. And again, Natasha, thank you for being a part of this. Clemence, thank you for being a part of it. Rochelle, and who is Monday? That was Clemence. Tuesday, who was Tuesday? Sue Rapley. Thank you to all of the beautiful women that showed up this week to gift this community with their presence and their divine gifts. So thank you so much. Have a blessed day, and I will see you. Well, you see me live at some point, but we'll see you at the conference or the what is this? The summit. See, Natasha, it's not just your name. I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. Okay.
Virtual summit.
The virtual summit. It'll be the week after next. So God bless you, everyone, and have a good one, and stay healthy and stay safe.